Hello and good morning. Today I'm in a 2023 Toyota Corolla GR-Four Circuit Edition. Big thanks to my friend Tenshi for letting me review it. The car is for sale. Before we go into the entire video, the car is for sale, so if you do want the car, I'm going to put his Instagram in the bio and on the screen right now, so hit him up if you want to purchase this car from Long Island, New York. So, just getting into it, let's go over some general specs of the GR-Four Corolla. This is a normal Corolla chassis. However, it does have a bit of a wide body in the rear, and the front fenders are a bit wider. It does have the hood vents, a bigger bumper with an intercooler, and that's because it is a 1.6 liter 3-cylinder turbo engine making 300 horsepower. That's 100 horsepower per cylinder. It's absolutely insane. If you told me a car with an engine a smidge bigger than a Fiat Abarth was making 300 horsepower from the factory, I'd slap you across the face, because that is an actually absurd number to come up with for 3 cylinders. The Circuit Edition of the Corolla GR is the middle variant. You have the base, the Circuit, and the Moriso Edition. They only made so few Moriso editions. I think there's only like 200 in the States. This one in particular, this Corolla GR-Four with the heavy metal gray Circuit Edition, is one of 1,500. But the price point on this comes in at about $47,000 plus, depending on the features and the other options that you get with it. On top of the 300 horsepower, you have 273 foot-pounds of torque, which is a lot for a 3-cylinder, let alone even a 4-cylinder engine. All of that power is going to 4 wheels. This car is all-wheel drive. Now, the cool thing about that is you can actually take the differential and split it front or rear, so you can send it 60-40 to the front or 30-70 biased to the rear. So it being all-wheel drive and having 300 horsepower, 270 foot-pounds of torque, it goes 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. That is lightning quick. Just starting off the bat, let's go over the interior and my first impressions on the insides of the car. Now, the quality of the materials seems pretty good for a performance car, because mind you, this is not a luxury brand, this is not a luxury car, this is a race car, this is a performance car. So usually when that happens, companies don't put so much R&D or so much money into the quality and the build quality of these performance cars. Usually that's where they cheap out, so they can spend a lot of money on the engine and the chassis and the suspension. So just taking a look around, it has some really beautiful red stitching on the steering wheel, the doors, the seats. Mind you, the seats are a beautiful Alcantara texture, nice bolsters, but not super thin. I'm a 30 waist, and I have lots and lots of space in here, and my back has lots of space to move back and forth. Really great design on the seats as well. They are beautiful. The dash itself is black with black stitching, but it looks really nice. It's kind of like a faux leather, but it looks really nice. It feels good. Nothing's really all that crunchy, which is really great. That's a great sign. The shift boot, I think, could be made of a little bit better material. It seems almost like a foamy faux leather, so it does get some wrinkles in it, and it does feel a little bit cheap, but you can change that out pretty easily. The shift knob feels great. It has that Subaru reverse lockout. It's really nice shape. The throw feels really good. The center console has some very nice but very simple climate controls. It's all right here in a couple buttons, which is very nice. Then it has a screen with Apple CarPlay. The steering wheel itself is very comfortable. Your hands are perfectly positioned at each side, and it's very comfortable in the hand. It doesn't feel too bulky, but it is not too thin and wiry either. Now, because this is the Circuit Edition, it does have a full carbon fiber roof, which means that you don't get your sunroof or moonroof. But honestly, I think when you're buying a GR-Four Circuit Edition, that's not really something that you're too concerned about. The sun visors are pretty standard Toyota sun visors. They are just like a Camry, just like a Corolla, but they do have this nice sunshade that pops out. Another cool thing is that the seats are manual. They're not electric, so you save weight without the electronic seats. You can take them out really easily if you did want to put in a fixed bucket seat or more of a race seat, and it's more reliable. You don't have any electronics to go bad in the future, or if you spill coffee or whatever, water on it. So overall, I'm very impressed with the interior build quality. It is a really nice design. It is really nice materials. I have zero complaints in the interior, really. The back seats are very nice, and they do seem to have a decent amount of leg room considering this is a 4-door car still. So it's super easy to pick up your friends, pick up your kids, pick up whoever. This is definitely a good family car, if you know what I mean. And the rear hatch has actually a decent amount of space in it. I have my backpack and my camera bag back there with plenty of space, and the back seats do fold down, so you do have that space all the way from the back of the boot up until the front seats. So that's enough on the car itself. Why don't we go ahead and drive the 2023 Toyota Corolla GR-Four Circuit Edition. We got a nice start-stop push button. Let's see, clutch in, we're in neutral. A very nice digital screen we have. So we get lots of information on the screen in front of us. There's honestly so much information here. You have your differential bias. Right now we're in front 60, rear 40. It's currently in eco mode. Here's the tachometer. Everything is digital. You have your 4-wheel drive system, cruise control, lane assist, average miles per gallon, and there are just loads of settings in here. So down here we have a couple of drive modes we can change on. There is a traction control switch here, your drive mode here. Pretty simple layout. Up here, which is nice, you actually have a wireless phone charger, so you can put that on, put your phone there, and it'll charge, which is really nice. I believe this is wireless Apple CarPlay in this car. And then right here, like I was saying, with the differential bias, you can either put it to rear, which will change up here. Now we're 30 front, 70 rear. And then turn it to the left, and we're back at our 60/40. So those are the two options you can choose from. You can choose between front bias or rear bias, which is really nice if you're, say, driving in the snow or rainy texture. Or if you want to do some more performance driving, have some better steering feel, some better control over the power, maybe rotate with the rear a little bit, you can put it on the rear bias. And then you have push for track mode, so you can hit track, which I'm not sure what the bias is for track, but I'm sure it is good. So over here we have our drive modes. So we have eco, normal, and then sport actually changes the tachometer to be more of like almost an S2000 type look. It might be a bit easier to see it like this rather than it going all the way around. When you're looking ahead of you, it's probably a lot easier to see just this bar at the top, which is really nice. Has your miles per hour, and you have your settings still. So enough talking. Let's get driving in the 2023 Corolla GR-Four. The clutch is super easy to use. You don't even really need gas to use it, but obviously that's a good idea to do. Shifter feels super nice. Expert. Wow, look at that. You turn everything off when you're in track mode. Turn off collision, turn off stability, traction. It says expert. Ooh, and it stiffens up the suspension a good amount. The brakes feel really nice. They're very sturdy. They're not like easy brakes. They're nice and hard, so you do need to use some force. Now, I haven't really driven this car all so hard so far. I've only driven it in eco, but I can tell you the turbo blow-off valve / recirculating valve sounds amazing, and the exhaust is a good note too. Give a little bit of gas right here, see what it does. Interesting. Okay, there's definitely a lot of lag between pressing your foot down and the car accelerating, which was surprising to me. I thought it'd be more instantaneous on the acceleration, more of a feel. Let's see. Let's try it again. Yeah, there's a big delay, but the car is fast. I can't deny it. The car is definitely fast, and it feels very stable. Sounds great too. I don't know if you can hear that blow-off valve, but that sounds really nice. Oh, the steering feels super precise. Oh, I love this. Sounds great. I love the blow-off valve. It feels super stable, honestly. This is a road that I took that Porsche 718 on, and this is pretty comparable to that 718 Cayman-T that I did in terms of stability and how precise the steering feels. And the fact that you get that in a 4-door sedan hatchback with 3 cylinders is kind of insane to me. But I can't say I'm blown away with how much power it's putting down. it may be the weight of it or the all-wheel drive system, but it almost does feel like it's holding back a little bit on you. I feel like if maybe you had a tune and you could get the pedal to be a little bit more responsive, it'd be a much better driving experience. That is a super nice feeling. Very confidence-inspiring. Yeah, I don't feel like the acceleration is all that there, but this is still a super fun car to rip around these roads. Very, very precise, very quick, nimble, very nimble, I would say. So we got to think, what is this car really competing with? Now, the GR Corolla is an all-wheel drive, economical sports car that is also very practical. So we have things like the Subaru WRX STI, we have the Civic Type R, the Volkswagen Golf R. Now, those all kind of sit around this same price point as this car. So we got to think now, what really makes this car stand out compared to the others? Well, in my opinion, firstly is the looks. It looks phenomenal. I think out of every car I just listed, I prefer this car over those in terms of looks. Okay, something changed, but it feels way faster now. Wow, that is actually super fun. I don't know what changed. Maybe it had to warm up some more. I had it sitting idle for quite a bit, and then I did drive a little slow, but I don't know, maybe it... It's hugging. It is very fun, but that throttle delay is still there. It's still a bit apparent, so it's interesting. But it is a very fun car, and I just wish it had more of that feel, you know what I mean? I wish it had more of that race car feel, but it almost does just feel like a GTI. Anyways, how do we really feel it compares to those cars? Now, looks are one thing, you can prefer one to the other. But I think in terms of performance, I think this feels a little bit nicer than an STI, but not as fast as a Golf R. I think it's pretty comparable to the Civic Type R in terms of how it feels to drive. Now, when I say that, I mean the Civic Type R feels a bit computerized, and it feels like you're driving a computer, and I think that this car kind of channels into the same light as that. I don't get so much road feel, I don't get so much throttle response, steering response. You know the power's there because it says so, not so much because you can feel it. It is a very fun car to drive, but do I really think that it's worth buying a GR Corolla over, let's say, a Golf R or an STI? Now, I think there's probably a lot of tuning capability with this engine, but everything else in its competition also has that. So with the rarity of the car, you might want to look into a different option, but if you're a Toyota fanatic or a Corolla GR fanatic, or if you're someone who wishes, in the States we got the Yaris GR, but we didn't, like me, this might be a good option for you. I love Toyotas. I really wanted a GR Yaris so bad, but they're unfortunately just not available to us. I feel like I've gotten a pretty good feel for this car over driving it. It's definitely a bit rigid. It has decent acceleration, but the throttle delay is what is getting me. But I love the way the steering input feels. I just don't get such great feedback from the vehicle itself on the road. So that being said, if you're new here or if you're returning, I'm gonna rate the car on two categories. The first one being sport and the second one being daily. Now, this is out of 100 and it's just based off my personal judgment. So let's start off with the sport category. Now, this isn't a sports car. Yeah, I'd say it's a sports car. It probably is an animal on a track. But it doesn't give you that lively feeling that everybody's yearning for, that everybody misses from the 90s cars, the early 2000s race cars. Those cars have spirit and they have character, and I feel like this is kind of missing that. So in terms of sport, it does have really good numbers on paper, but does it have really good numbers on my butt dyno? And I'm gonna say it really doesn't. It almost feels like it has about 250 horsepower. It feels a bit comparable to the Fiat 500 Abarth. Now, the weight on the Fiat is probably a lot less than this, but the turbo feels like it does the same thing. I don't get so much turbo suction from this car. I don't get so much turbo. I get the same amount of turbo lag. So for sport, I'm gonna have to give this car a 72. Not my best rating, but honestly, it is a sports car and it feels great. The chassis is super well made and the suspension is dialed. I know this car is built to perfection, but it's the way that it feels in my hands and in my feet and in my ass that's not telling me that it's the most fun sports car in the world. So moving on to the daily category, I think this is actually maybe a better daily driver than it is a sports car. It has lots of space, it has a very small economical engine, and it has back seats, has a hatch, all-wheel drive. I think I'm gonna have to give this car an 88 in terms of daily. It has everything you want in a daily driver, and it looks phenomenal. So finally, after my ratings, I do a would I buy this car, yes or no. So if I'm being bluntly honest, I don't think I would buy this car. I think there are other cars out there that serve the same purpose at a better price with maybe a bit more tuning capability, and also that are just simply more available. Amazing car, super glad I was able to review it, but a little bit disappointed in the GR Corolla. So don't let this deter you from buying this car, because if you love a GR Corolla and it fits the bill for everything you need, by all means, hit up my boy Tenshi. I'll put his Instagram in the description and on the screen again right now, and you can hit him up and you can purchase this car. In conclusion, GR-Four Corolla, really amazing car on paper, really amazing car in terms of build quality and looks, but not my favorite car in terms of feel. I think that these newer cars are just kind of missing that feel, that character that I yearn for. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you sticking around. I appreciate every time you guys watch my videos, interact with me, leave comments. If there's a car in particular that you want me to review, please leave it in the comments below. I'm gonna do my best job to get that car on my list and get a review of it for you guys. If you have a car that you want me to review, leave it in the comments and hit me up, and we can set up a day and we can shoot some cars. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate if you would subscribe. It helps me a ton. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers right now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.